You know, when you go into the outdoors, there are a few things you should always consider taking with you. Insect repellent, sunscreen, first aid kit. But what if you forget them? Well, I'm going to introduce you to some of the things you can find in nature's own pharmacy. This is a great one to start with. This is greater plantain. The Indians had a name for this. They called it white man's footprints because it likes to grow beside the hard-packed trails, just like the first settlers in America made. Well, we can use this for treating slow-healing wounds, and the way we use it is simply to wrap it around the wound and bind it on, and it acts like a medicinal poultice. But you have to be careful. You must wash the leaf first, because the leaf itself might be covered in harmful bacteria. This is yarrow. Now, this has been used by soldiers for hundreds of years for treating wounds. So what did they do? Well, they take the leaves, and the leaves bruised were applied as a poultice to wounds. The other thing you can do with these leaves is to rub them up. And that liberates an aromatic scent, and that rubbed on your skin acts as an insect repellent. This is meadowsweet, and if I get a headache outdoors, this is my emergency cure for it. Now, the flowers and the leaves have been used in a herbal tea to treat fevers for centuries, but it's the root I'm interested in. You can see the root's very pink and red, and if I break it, it smells just like germaline. One of these roots, chewed and swallowed, is a very good emergency cure for a headache. Now, this is a plant that everybody knows about, the dock leaf. You know, if you get stung, what do you look for? A dock leaf. But most people just take a leaf and rub it on the stings. But that can be not such a good way of treating a nettle sting, because you can break the skin. A much better way of using the dock is like this. Take several of the leaves, fold them up into a little bundle and tear them, just a little bit. Rub them between your hands and then start to squeeze. It takes a few seconds, but there comes the medicine. Now that is what you should rub on the nettle stings, and it has an almost instant soothing effect.
I've been riding horses since I was old enough to hold a rattle, but have never experienced a long distance ride. Rising to the challenge of the Wild Boar Trail, I headed for Argyll. Day one, we leave Auchendrane on the old Drovers Road over the hills to Culnure. The second day begins in Kilmartin Glen, then on to Carnassery Castle, Crinan Beach and Denad. All in all, 60 miles.
It really is a great way of seeing the Scottish countryside trail riding, isn't it?
It really is. I think it's one of the best, you know, it's the way to see it.
So could just about anybody come on a trail ride, or do you need to know how to ride a little?
You need to know a bit. You do need to know a bit. We can always give you lessons for a couple of days to bring you on to it, you know. If somebody's not quite sure of themselves, that's no problem at all.
So how do you go about picking a horse? I mean, what have I got to ask?
The character of you, okay, your Ask's very quiet, you know, he's very calm, but he's got fire in him. He's got fire in his system. And you have too. You can tell that.
Nobody's ever said that about me before. For trail riding, do you find the horses have to be quite brave-hearted, adventurous?
They have to be, yes. Yeah, you don't want any horses that are wussies or wimps. They've really got to be prepared to. Yeah, we can do this. We can go up this. We can do it.
On a trail ride, you need food and drink to keep you going, warm clothes just in case, and the chance to rest those aching muscles. Our final stop on this long, hot summer's day was the beautiful Loch Awe and the ruins of Culnure Chapel.
This old chapel, it dates back to St. Columba.
It's very ornate, isn't it?
Isn't it
the
lovely?
Work here.
It's lovely, isn't it? Shall we jump off and have a look round?
I'm ready to stretch my legs a bit. Whoa!
Oh, I know, we need to do it.
Ooh. There's quite a few sort of tombstones lying about. I mean, there's a couple over here.
Legend has it they're actually from the Knights Templar from the Crusades, and that's why you see all the engravings on the top of them.
A few miles on and the end of the day. Our horses, Ask and Sif, where mother and son have gone all day, fueled by their breakfast of equine muesli. Supper will be the same, and while they chilled out, we headed for a local hostel to spend the night. A new day, and the chance to become even better acquainted with my four-legged friend. By 9 o'clock the next morning, we were in Kilmartin Glen, also known as the Valley of the Kings, the site of some of the most important relics of ancient Scotland.
I love the way that these standing stones just seem to almost pop up out of the Scottish countryside.
These date back to Neolithic times. You're looking at these being 500 odd years older than the pyramids were.
Such an ancient thing.
Yeah, they are ancient. But we've got something, the next thing we're going to on the trail, much, much younger. We're going to have a look at that, shall we?
Okay, lead on.
Okay, thank you. Come on, good girl.
There's a real thrill riding a horse which is having as much fun as I am. Believe me, if they didn't want to jump and gallop, they wouldn't. When push comes to shove, they're bigger than we are.
This castle was actually built in the mid-1500s. This was built for Bishop Carswell, and it was actually here that he translated the Bible into the Gaelic, because nobody in this area would speak English at that time.
What about the horses, David? They must do this trail time and time again.
Well, they're not too bad at all, no, because I mean they're getting to gallop and jump the jumps and do all the bits and pieces like that, and they've got the best bit to come yet, which is going down the beach.
Oh, great! Come on.
And they love the
That'll
beach.
cool them off a bit, won't it?
Oh, it certainly will, yeah.
Horses are natural swimmers, and crossing the bay we head for the hill fort of Donad, marking the end of our two-day trail. It's a sacred site. The first kings of Scotland were crowned here.
Good girl, come on.
You didn't expect to go rock climbing today, did you? I'm sure it's all good for his thighs, isn't it, boy?
Talking about thighs, how are yours doing after a couple of days of riding?
Sore, but it's well worth suffering to get up here.
This is very historical up here too. This is where the kingdom of Dalriada started. It's where the kings were crowned. You can see the footprint down there. We'll get off and have a look at it.
So what have we actually got?
Well, all that's left really is this footprint. They would stand with their foot in there, face Ben Cruachan, and they would be anointed king.
Well, give it a try.
Well, you could
hey,
look
look
at that. That's
look at that for
That's
a perfect
perfect. Absolutely perfect.
So what do you think it means then?
It means you're going to be the next Queen of Scotland, obviously.
So how many miles have we done?
We've done 60 miles in the last 2 days.
No wonder I'm sore.
No, it's not surprising, is it? But it's worth it to come here. And this is the hill where it all started in Scotland.
So the capital of the Scots of Dalriada.
That's it. It all started here.
I like being here, you know,
It's lovely, isn't
in the
it?
sunset.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
You know, when you go into the outdoors, there are a few things you should always consider taking with you. Insect repellent, sunscreen, first aid kit. But what if you forget them? Well, I'm going to introduce you to some of the things you can find in nature's own pharmacy. This is a great one to start with. This is greater plantain. The Indians had a name for this. They called it white man's footprints because it likes to grow beside the hard-packed trail.